Alright, I am Time for Miracle. I'm joined by Dillo and Sako. Today we are reviewing Eliminati v Dillo from round 1 of MAG1.
Yeah. Hello viewers, hello chat, I am Dillo.
Let's skip on to
And
the
hello,
start of
hello,
the
I
match.
am N Sacco.
Most good. Alright, Dillo, walk us through your process, the starting pack, I suppose, to get us going.
Yeah, well, because I always enjoy deploying on the line, definitely sledge or bulls are my favorite. I tend to steer away from stormcallers because unless they're a last resort, I'm really not a fan of spiders. But here, it was a really toss-up 50-50 between quick supply and speed. But I do tend to lean towards balls more often, so I do like the quick supply, and that my round 2, I've just got the extra money for any shenanigans I wish to inflict on my opponent.
Makes sense to me. Definitely always down for a quick supply on the line, for sure.
Yeah.
Guess we can skip ahead to the deploy. Probably skipping through a lot of this makes more sense than like actually watching it frame for frame, huh?
Yeah. And one inside ball, one outside ball. I like it just in case one of the, like say the outside ball on the right does run into the fangs straight away, where the inside ball has a chance of connecting straight onto storms. So I might have one really strong side, one really weak side, weaker side that is.
Makes sense to me. Bit unconventional, but I like it.
Yeah.
So you're not a fan of the deploy both balls in like the most outside spot possible that Sako does a lot?
Now I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't have good success, along with like the crawlers right behind the balls. I probably should practice it a little bit more and just work around their potential answers, but I like them, one inside, one outside.
Makes sense to me.
Now here, redeploy for an aggro player, lovely.
Love me some redeploy as well.
Yeah, because in the later rounds, you can find some really nice plays with it, and just throw your opponent off guard.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I'm curious, how do you, what's your plan when you deploy symmetrically like this? Do you eventually, like, since you have the redeploy, do you eventually try to stack aside, or do you just see where it goes from there?
Yeah, so with the redeploy, it does leave me with that option of stacking aside, depending on which side's doing better. It just leaves more options, and if I didn't get redeploy, I can just sell, go into forts or any other potential threats. But yeah, I just like to leave my options open, and yeah, I don't know what else to say.
I think it's super good, because especially like with the omnipresence of like oil and spells and stuff, like being able to just say, half my stuff's getting beaconed, some of it's getting redeployed, and maybe we're selling out of something and just like pushing the other side for a turn, it's just so strong. So I like that a lot. I think also as the defender, it adds a lot of like uncertainty too of like what you're actually playing against, like round per rounds, particularly when you see spells. I think even just like the hidden bonus of them having to like outthink themselves makes it super good. That's why I love redeploy. Slash 8
It's also
playing
like
gets it.
a solid econ thing, because you can like apply some pressure on one side and then you can just redeploy out of it, and now they have wasted resources halfway across the map. So I feel like it's just very pain to deal with as a defender here.
Sure. I think it's also really good to like, obviously you can do the redeploy within flank shenanigans. You could do like shallow flank and like transform it into a deep flank, and there's no like warp in time. That can always be a really strong like tempo option too with like a summon or drop or something.
Yep. Yeah. Because I've already noticed 2 of my arc lights have levels. They're doing some work. Smart arc lights seem like a good value choice long run.
Yeah, it looks like Eliminati took Mass Prod Sledge as well. Yeah.
Yeah, to slow down the balls. It does make sense.
Does. We don't see as much mass prod Sledge nowadays as we used to, but still a great card.
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised people stop just insta-picking it every time it's offered nowadays. Anyone know why that's the case?
Uh, 'cause
Not sure. I feel like it's hard to click a mass prod sledge though into smart arc light because that's just like even more scaling for the arc lights if you buy a bunch. I think.
That is true.
I think the mass prod sledge, I've seen it picked a lot less often when Scorpion was introduced. I guess with saber drops, and they just run worse into more targets, and then you run the risk of War Factory as well.
That's fair. I guess Scorpion especially is a really big point for why we don't see it as much.
But yeah, just redeploy those wasps off the flank because I know those typhoons are coming out. They're not going to have any value on the flanks anymore.
Makes perfect sense to me. It's the econ pressure Sako was talking about. You get him to make a suboptimal deploy in the flank, and you just redeploy the wasp out, and get screwed, right? It's easy.
Yeah, especially typhoons because like I don't personally think typhoons are that good of a defending unit. So making him deploy like 4 typhoons into your ball push feels like it's better for you long term.
Yep.
I agree completely. Typhoon's also just so slow. It's such a poor like flank defense unit unless you like need it. Need like the body to tank for you or whatever.
Yep. The Phoenix pickup was just because I was lacking anti-air. Like if he suddenly came out with a Wraith, I was in a bit of trouble, I believe. But I should realize by now that I'm lacking a bit of a chaff clear.
Do you realize that in the game? Or are you thinking about something else?
No, not quite yet. And the choice is here because it was a hard choice between Mustang and I guess I go for the Rhino. Because I just in my head I run the Rhino armor, and I just see the prime opportunity to put them deep in the flanks and distract those typhoons for a long time.
So what is your reasoning for Rhino over Scorpion here? Do you just like really hate pairing the Scorp with the balls and your other stuff, or do you just like the tempo of the flank play so much more?
I like the tempo of with the Rhinos, and I do have to redeploy as well. The Scorp does shoot pretty slow. It would handle those mass-produced sledges, even though there's only 2 out at the moment. But I feel like with redeploy, I have a higher chance of potentially just beaconing into tower when I choose to.
Makes sense. What is your experience trying to push Rhinos into towers against Scorpions in Mechabellum nowadays? I feel like you didn't really have to think about like a double shot Scorpion one-tapping your Rhino in old Mecha. So when you're like, 38,000 or whatever it is, blue HP Rhino is walking at a tower, it's losing like half its health from a double shot Scorpion at level 1, right? So does that feel like a difficult proposition here if we don't have redeploy to play with, or what do you think?
Yes, it would actually be. Like even with armor, it would take a few shots, and if it's double shot and acid, those Rhinos are just deleted.
For sure.
How would I readjust for that? Of course, just more crawlers in front, just to waste the initial shot and hopefully just get in quick enough. But I guess I'll just readjust round per round just to see how the exact engagements go, and probably just transition into perhaps more air if I found they weren't doing work.
Makes sense. I was mostly just thinking like, I don't know how hard that is. I don't really use Rhinos very much anymore because of how many easy single target access options we have compared to old Mecha with no drops, where we just can push with Rhinos and it just does crazy stuff and forces people to fill all the defensive holes, It's interesting to think of how it differs. How long have you played the game, by the way, Dillo?
Pretty much since the start of the year, so a solid 10, 11 months.
I see. So you've only played the game with unit drops then, right?
No, there was no unit drops when I first started.
I see.
There was no War Factory. I did miss out on the whole Rhino push meta that was apparently very popular at the very start.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think what the CP was looking like on the leaderboard when I first started, but unfortunately my memory is not that good to remember that far back.
It's okay. I understand completely.
I'm honestly surprised both these rhinos survived.
Me too. I kind of just stat checked the Typhoons. I was looking at the DPS per supply of a Typhoon recently. It's actually kind of abysmal. It's a bit surprising. It's such a good unit. Makes sense it
I
can't
believe
kill a
it's a
Rhino.
little bit less than a Mustang. Or sorry, Mustangs have higher DPS per cost, but the difference is just the Typhoon has base splash compared to Stangs.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason it ends up looking good as a traffic unit is the base splash, despite its low DPS. So as like a single target versus Rhino here, it looks really, really poor even if you don't have armor. Example. Did you win this game, by the way, Dillo? You did, right?
I'm not going to spoil it. Neither of you have ever seen.
I've actually never seen the game, so...
There's definitely a few holes I need to plug in particular engagements, like the middle set of balls are getting picked off almost straight away from his Scorpion. I still need to fix up a bit of chaff clear, I believe. And I haven't even got the flanks missiled yet for potential air flanks.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing looking at this board is like, man, it is round 5 and you have 4 crawlers on your side of the field that aren't the flanks.
Yeah, I know.
You have less crawlers than rounds played. You're a maniac.
Yeah, for an aggro start or aggro play, it does seem quite unorthodox to have such little chaff. But I guess with limited deploys, I've had a few levels to spend money on. Yeah, I'm just, I guess, struggling to find that extra deploys and cash influx to, beef up the squad.
You know, one thing I think that shows too is when you're not just like mindlessly deploying 3 colors per round, it probably also means that you're like playing for a game plan, so you're playing proactively instead of just neutral building every round to have like a consistently good endgame board. I think it means you're playing proactively usually.
Yeah. Like at this stage at round 5, I should really be thinking, all right, what's my real end game board really looking like? But for the most part, I felt like in this game, yeah, I was just playing it round by round rather than thinking long term. But it still felt very comfortable, especially with the redeploy and the deep strike or the reduced spawn in time on flanks, because I've picked that up the previous turn. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're still looking really healthy, even though like the steel balls are struggling, you don't have that much chaff, and you're doing some tempo stuff from round to round, still looking really good. I mean, both of you are really healthy, really, but nothing's going too poorly, right?
yeah, it's not like I'm losing like 2k health in a single turn. Thankfully, the arc lights are leveling up, so with elite marksman, eventually range, they'll put in some work, help clear out those sledges relatively quick for hopefully those balls to lock on to their targets that they need. But
oh my gosh, you
yeah,
clicked anti-air.
Yeah, I know. Just for what, 2 Phoenix and a
Wasp,
wasps?
yeah. Wow.
Is that a misclick?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too.
Or like a read? I don't know.
I mean, maybe he thinks you're committing heavy to Wasp this turn? That's crazy, though.
Yeah.
This was the patch before or after Loose got nerfed? It was after, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the crawlers do have less HP here.
It's still rather
with
good
that-
versus Sledge and Typhoon, though.
Yeah, with their splash.
Yeah,
100%.
less than 7 meters.
And thankfully here, with his double shot Scorps, my Rhino on the right was going to do no work. Just redeploy it. Hopefully get the mobile beacon, just a quick snipe, and then it's all Gucci.
Yeah, I'd say this game so far has been a great showcase of what Sako brought up at first, and we were talking about with redeploy. You're just doing some real nasty things to him with this redeploy.
Yeah,
it's wasting infinite
So
deploys
much
on the right
wasted
side.
resources too, and then you're still countering those wasted resources with the like extra Rhino.
Yep.
yeah. Trying to think what value the anti-air typhoons have had so far, and well, I guess at the very end of the round, they're sniping off those wasps.
Yeah. I do wonder if he intended to click Mech Rage instead. I've accidentally done the same thing before, which is why I kind of believe maybe it might be a misclick. I've thought that the anti-air
That's what
icon was Mech Rage.
you'd think, right?
Yeah. Especially if you're doing it at, like, the end of the rounds, you know? Sometimes you're just, like, trying to do all your stuff and you just think the icon's something that it isn't.
Now here, oh, this one's an easy pick because I am lacking. I could use with a little bit extra chaff clear, I believe, because I've only got the 4 arc lights out, so it's an instant pick. Well, it should be instant. The Mustangs. I don't think I have
And there's
any
so much
use.
XP on the board with those mass prod sledges. Like those Mustangs probably also scale with the arcs.
Yeah, probably so. Seems pretty good overall. You have plenty of things to tank for them as well, so if you get an item afterwards or something that's insane value.
Yeah. And both rhinos level, so that's beautiful. So I think even double shot, like level 1 Scorps are gonna struggle killing them.
I wonder if it's a mistake from Eliminati here to not take the Mustangs since you have loose formation. You get so much value out of having the Mustangs first thought.
Because
What do you guys think
he
about that?
doubles
Yeah,
up on. Oh, sorry, you go.
I don't think base Badgers aren't even that good into loose. I'm pretty sure. I think you have to click Napalm if you're gonna go Badgers. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. And the Badger also like self nerfs a lot when you click Napalm nowadays, right? So, like,
Mhm.
does that make sense instead of Mustang here when you already have an established front line of Scorpion and Typhoon? And also Mass Prod Sledge? You have like infinite front line if you're Eliminati here, right?
Yeah. A lot of delay. The Mustangs would have heaps more value. I guess his line of thinking may be that because of the Rhino armor, both the Typhoon and Mustangs would just get stuck and have no value.
For sure.
Um,
Maybe he wants to like instantly go Napalm. See what he does.
yeah, or at least have the option to if he finds the crawlers are a bit more of a problem
Mm-hmm.
than he realizes.
Yeah. I guess that is a good point though, right? Like, if we assume we are getting stuck on the Rhino, then maybe just having Napalm trailing the Rhino is better than having a Mustang. Maybe. I'm not sure I actually believe that, but maybe. We do have double shot Scorpions. Surely we can kill Rhinos.
Yeah.
Oh, and Badger also activates the oil for him as well, so that's always very potent.
Yes. Now, after rewatching, this replay much earlier, I do wish that on the right flank, instead of the crawler there, I had placed a Rhino. That way, the Wasps have a better chance of getting into the tower. Because I am struggling to find that value with the Wasps now.
For sure. At least he isn't missile spamming you, though. Could be a lot worse, right?
Yeah, there's always like 1 or 2 missiles used on that left flank.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, the Rhinos are still healthy.
Dillo, have you played Saracha? Playing this strategy, basically, where he just goes, like, jump drive, Wasp, plus deployment Rhino, or redeploy Rhino, and just pushes you over and over again with that?
There's been a handful of matches. There was one in particular with it wasn't redeployed Rhinos, but it was a elite SPC, and there was just Rhinos everywhere, just getting into my towers.
Yeah, the reason I ask is he in particular really, really likes that strategy. He's just a
Yeah.
gigantic fan of it.
Though lately he's been fixated on hackers, so that's been.
I've still never got
It's
to see
Hacker
him
Day
play
every day,
hackers.
apparently.
Is it actually Hacker Day? You keep saying that in your stream, and I never see him play.
He buys it into
hackers.
into Mustang Crawler. He's like, I have a hacker now. What are you
Oh.
gonna do? I'm like, oh my, what? He just, I don't know. He's limit testing.
Interesting.
He is.
I thought it was like a meme or something. I'd never seen him do it.
He's living the meme.
I mean, he is the OG hacker man, so.
This is true.
Also, Dillo, are you a charge shot hater? Do you even have it on the bar in this match?
I do have it on the bar. Very rarely click it. I think I'd be tempted to click it. Oh, this would be a prime spot with all these sledges, badges,
Mm-hmm.
typhoons. But I feel like I would need at least another 3 more arc lights because with the attack speed reduction, I've got the Mustangs as backup, so it should have been higher on the consideration. But
No, I agree with you. I think at least 2 or 3 more probably is what you want for it.
yeah,
I was just curious in general mostly because like Zemp, for example, like took off charge shot entirely, and I do agree with you that most of the time you probably don't want to click it, but this is like the ideal spot basically, right? It's like every unit in this whole board besides the Scorpion is weak to charge shot.
yeah. Because many of my arc lights at this stage are level 4, level 5, so even with elite marksmen, they'd almost be one-shotting those sledges. So maybe those arcs in particular don't require it, or they're two-shotting.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
It's definitely perhaps more opportunities I could have had this game with the redeploy, because apart from redeploying just the one Rhino from one side flank to the other, I haven't done anything major with it, or anything impactful. So it's something I could have improved on this game. But the Mustangs were such a good pickup for me.
Yeah, the Mustangs are amazing for you for sure. Also helps out your like anti-air, so you don't possibly lose around to getting like wasp cheese or some shenanigans.
Eliminati still at least using 3 missiles a turn, so negative economics.
I always think it's impressive when people missile like 3 times a turn for like 5 turns, or 5 missiles for 5 turns or something, and still turn the game around afterwards. Sometimes these missiles do you in, man.
Yes.
Especially when you make these flank plays like this, I think that is particularly weak to just getting missile spammed into infinity.
Yes. And I should have realized or fixed at this stage, like 1 missile on the middle crawler on the flank also hits the Rhino. So the Rhino
Indeed.
should be readjusted so that he doesn't get slowed. I don't run power armor, which could be a higher on the consideration if I do want to commit more into Rhinos, but I felt at this stage, well, throughout the game, that one tech, just level them up. They've been such a pain on that flank. They don't need any extra tech just yet.
For sure. I think it's very interesting, that comparison between like OG Rhino push strats and current Rhino, where we just like invest only armor, and back in the day we'd invest like photon power armor. I feel like there's something else used to that we'd click, but nowadays we
Mech
just
Rage, I
eat the
believe?
missiles. Yeah,
The
maybe Mech
blender?
Rage sometimes, or Whirlwind, or
extra speed.
Snacks, all kinds
That's
of
if you're
things.
going crazy though. That's just like all-in Rhino commits, and your
Yeah.
entire strat revolves around hitting tower debuff.
For sure, yeah. I mean, some people run Boom too. They're crazy. You play the Mustang. Oh my god,
Yeah,
he's
some
crazy.
people run boom and they're crazy.
Here
People
comes the
being
Rhino
Dillo.
Boom, yeah.
What's the timing on that?
Haven't actually seen this match, by the way. Don't even know what's on
Because I
Dillo's
do
bar.
realize, like towards the end of the fight, when I collapse on his right side, that it's still got a lot of chaff alive, or a lot of little things alive. So just Rhino Boom just to clear it out, so that because my Phoenixes are such high level that when they go around, they're not overkilling any small targets. And then finally actually take the balls with range. They seem to work out.
Yeah, looks good overall. Honestly, really impressive Boom turn. I feel like Boom's one of those things like really, really, really easy to like mess up to a degree that it just like is more harmful than good. But looks like the good Boom turn, or at least like not actively bad, which is honestly a good Boom turn.
Yeah.
Very dangerous sometimes. Do you guys think that we should look at these in like the replay file in the future? I wonder, because it's a little awkward that we only have the recording, right? We can't like look at anything like text or anything like that. We're just like stuck with only the one camera perspective.
Yeah, and you can't select particular units to see what texts are on there because I've got the replay that I can link up or put into chat, but
Right.
it would make more sense to actually do it via the replay in game.
Yeah. Well, what's your thoughts overall on the game, Dillo? Are you happy with how you played it? Wish that done like a particular thing different, or?
There's definitely a few things I felt like I could have done a bit different. I felt like uh, for aggro play, you do want to close out relatively early because the longer the game goes, like it's just a tougher board um, to run into. Um,
Yeah,
I
especially
could
with the
have
Rhino as
utilized,
well.
yeah, I could have utilized the redeploy a bit more, ensuring that the rhinos didn't get hit by the same missile that the crawlers were on the flank. Um, but for the most part in that game, I felt very comfortable. Um, just felt like a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just only minor um, unit placements with the redeploy that I felt like I could have fixed up.
Yeah, it's a cool game overall. Always love some redeploy shenanigans, and always love seeing Rhinos and Flanks actually doing things in 2024 Mechabellum, so cool game.
Thank you.
Alright, fellas, any final thoughts for this recording, or good here?
Yeah,
Sounds good to me.
Alright.
yeah, sounds pretty good.